In the top right corner of 2K, give it up for Storm Gaming's GUMIHO. And in the bottom left, repping the home team, the venerable Alpha X, it's the chin toss himself, Classic. So this is going to be a very close series. Our last two were in theory lopsided, but ended up being probably way closer than they should have. With a lot of players who were unfavored in the past throughout years of history and competition dramatically improving over the course of 2021-2022. This match is not related to those. These two are neck and neck. Classic slightly favored overall, but GUMIHO has been beating Classic more so far in 2022 than Classic has been beating GUMIHO. I think it's like 5-4 in notable matches in favor of GUMIHO. Everyone seems to be in good spirits this morning, my time. It's probably afternoon or evening for you guys, demographically. So, I'm going to get started off with a proxy command center. It's not that big a deal. It's just slightly moved to the left. It's going to have to lift in the air. Some slight mining time is going to be delayed, but we got some excitement, right? I have you all hyped up now for this command center. It's really, really exciting at 5:30 in the morning. My roommates probably hate me a lot. Give me 1 second here, folks. You're going to hear the audio cut out. But yeah, Stargate follow-up for Classic. Second Adept on its way. And it's just a normal opening, is what I would say, if we didn't see a Marauder outside of the natural for GUMIHO. So, yeah, GUMIHO gonna run a couple Marauders across the map, try and cause damage. It's a good thing Classic decided not to opt for Stalkers this time around. He should be able to hard counter this Marauder build from GUMIHO. GUMIHO going to mitigate the threat of this Oracle while having a Cyclone. As long as it's positioned correctly, it can take care of this Oracle super fast. Gotta grab people's attention. Aye. Yeah, I'm actually really excited. I think we're gonna see some very long games this time around. Like, yeah, this is bad for GUMIHO. It's, like, really bad, but it's not game-ending for a player of this caliber. It's hurtful, for sure. It's going to bite him during the mid-game. There's two Oracles that he, like, has to respond to, right? We're seeing a second Cyclone, we're seeing a Viking, and that might not have exactly been his plan going into this. It could have been. Classic heading towards the main with double Oracle. And we have a game freeze. I think that's me, actually. You know, sometimes it's not about how things get messed up. It's about how you recover from them. And everyone was very professional about this. Thank you to Classic and GUMIHO for helping me out with the crashed game. We are literally exactly where we left off. Classic threatening with triple Oracle Adepts sitting outside the natural of GUMIHO. First Shade is going to be canceled. Phoenix fighting with the Viking. And minimal damage. Minimal damage to GUMIHO thus far. 9 workers killed overall, but considering it was triple Oracle, it could have been a lot worse. And especially when you consider that GUMIHO opened with a Marauder play that really didn't get anything done. Now he has the depot down, and he will get the supply raise, so these Adepts think about shading in on the tank. They're not going to do so, at least not initially. With GUMIHO spreading out more to take the third, there is an opening for Classic to attack, but I think Classic's just going to play it cool for now. You look at the difference in minerals lost, the difference in gas, and it's still in favor of Classic quite a bit, especially with these 9 SCVs going down. I mean, that's a lot of lost mining time, and we're finally going to settle into kind of a normalish mid-game with GUMIHO a tad behind, a couple Archons morphing in. As charge finishes, as armor finishes, this army gets a lot more powerful. We have a third Phoenix coming out of the Stargate as well. Proxy Gateway out on the field. Classic going on the attack is going to carve through quite a few Marines with the first wave of Zealots. It looks like he's losing for a second, but then you remember there's a fresh warp in behind this as both tanks get picked off. There's still a lot of bio, and the Medivacs can heal this up, even though a lot of them are in the orange. One of the Archons very low on shields. It will get sniped as it tries to round the corner. A fresh wave of Zealots breathes new life into the attack. Oracles trying to hit in the main are going to get picked off by a Classic dropping on them, and Classic grabs the supply depot, runs in against the bio, is going to chop it up to shreds. Corners the last remaining, and GUMIHO is struck down. Classic claims victory in map number 1. In the top left, it's Psystorm's GUMIHO. In the bottom right, it's Alpha X's Yellow Toss Classic. Currently up 1-0. A triple Oracle play with the Depths fighting on the ground. Overwhelms GUMIHO. Classic then transitioned into Charge Lot Archon, and GUMIHO just didn't have enough to hang on. Opened a Marauder right into losing 9 SCVs. It put him at a huge disadvantage. It was still doable, but you can't understate just how big a blow that was to GUMIHO. It was a build order loss, essentially, is what it really comes down to. Without some kind of coin flip, GUMIHO was doomed, and I thought GUMIHO might be able to pull off some kind of coin flip and at least even things up, but nah, Classic just, he was able to capitalize on all the damage he caused. Probe, make sure there's no proxy racks out on the map. GUMIHO is behaving himself this game as well. Looks like he wants to take it to another macro play. Reaper opening from our blue Terran. Ooh, Classic drops the proxy pylon. This is making me feel like it's going to be a... I don't know. This could be a proxy Dark Shrine. Just a normal play would be Stargate, but this is a weird location to put the pylon. Cybercore's finished. We're going to find out in a second, and it will be a proxy Stargate. Okay. So, a tad far away from the enemy base, but these oracles will still hit very strong and very quickly. A lot of times you'll see Toss, you know, throw it up here in the corner or down here, something like that, but Classic going for a safe spot behind the rocks. This is very unlikely to get scouted at any point by GUMIHO. GUMIHO goes in with the Reaper. Looks like he might get a probe kill. No, it pops into the gas just in the nick of time. 2 more Reaper shots needed to kill off that probe, so it lucked out today. We'll see Oracle Opener from Classic. GUMIHO getting a bunker at the wall. Doesn't know what's up. He doesn't know what's coming his way. He's trying to play it safe, but this isn't necessarily going to be safe against this Oracle. Okay, it's going to be a Widowmine defense primarily against the Oracle. Believe it or not, 2 Marines lose in a fight against an Oracle. First SCV picked off. Well, this is a very effective Oracle play. So 3 kills on the Oracle already. The Widowmine burrows. It's not going to get the shot off, and it looks like the Oracle should live just narrowly. Very, very, very cool. 3 SCVs and a Marine killed off, and now its friend is here as it regens shields in the corner. Unfortunately, there's no Terran shield battery that can be thrown down to help fight these off. A couple more SCVs made vulnerable, very injured. The Marines, each 1 shot away from death as well. Widowmine is not going to die in time, but both Oracles are alive, and once this one regens its shields and we get a tad more energy on these bad boys, I think we are going to see them go in again. But before that happens, Oracle number 3 moves in. It does see the line from the targeting of the Widowmine. It won't be aggroed into range. Such good control from Classic right now. Oh my god. That was a very high timer meal, and finally a mistake in the micro from Classic does lose him an Oracle, but let's take a look at the damage so far. 5 SCVs and a Marine traded out for 1 Oracle. Okay, second Oracle goes down, and Oracles 3 and 4 are going to finally get out of dodge. But look what Classic did behind this. He's throwing down a 3rd Nexus at the gold, and he can totally afford to do that because he's damaged the Terran economy so much. You think 5 SCVs is not that much? Think again. That is a full 1/8 of GUMIHO's mining SCVs, and now here come the Adepts to Widowmine. The thing that could level the playing field between the Adepts and the Terran bio is sitting at the ramp. We had a second Widowmine here, but well, it got an okay hit off. Like, it wasn't enough. 4 more SCVs going down, as well as a lot of the bio being traded out. This Oracle was hold position, so not a lot more kills, but many more SCVs being heavily wounded. So 8 SCVs killed off. Could have been like 12, but, you know, Classic had to make that decision between choosing to where to put his attention, right? Do I go home and macro? Do I sit here and micro this Oracle? I don't know if there's a Widowmine over here. I don't know what the danger is beyond where I've scouted. So I'm just going to hold position the Oracle here. Let it damage some SCVs. Do what I can to hurt GUMIHO. Here comes another Oracle. Delay on the supply depot. 3 more SCVs killed off. It's just the lasers are blinding from Classic. Oh my god, this Oracle play is so sick. Charge and armor on the way, and this part of the game is looking very familiar. We're going to have a lot of charge lots on the field. No Archons this time around. Okay, so there is a major difference. No Templar Archives or Dark Shrine in production. GUMIHO lands a Viking to finally get a couple worker kills of his own. This bio push is all he has in him. 1 Widowmine. 2 Widowmines. 2 Widowmines backing up this bio push. A tank dropped on the high ground. And all of a sudden, Classic's economic lead is deleted. Is this the play that GUMIHO needed? Maybe. I think so. Stutter step up the ramp. Orange and red. 2 gates shut down. Medevac blown out of the sky. And a recall to the gold base to defend against the paltry reinforcements that were trying to take down the third nexus of Classic, but GUMIHO is unrelenting. Another medevac headed toward the Protoss. GUMIHO currently up 10 workers, but down 7 army supply. Ooh, the medevac scouted by this probe. I think Classic was trying to take a 4th, but that's almost more valuable than getting that 4th nexus down. Scouting this push and stopping it before it can do anything at all. Really, really, really good bit of luck for Classic to have that probe where it was at the time it was. GUMIHO starting up a 3rd CC. He does have 2 tanks out here, so he's pretty safe from everything Classic has. But the problem is, Classic already has his charge, already has armor, is going for +2 armor, and is going to be able to crank out Zealots like there's no tomorrow. You have 8 gates on the field, and they are going to be kept very busy. Warping in units. I don't think Classic has enough here to hold this push. No, absolutely not. It's going to be slow. Or, never mind. It's close enough to the Nexus. I don't know what I was thinking. So, we have a bunch of Zealots reinforcing. Marines aren't going to be able to connect any probe kills. They are putting pressure on Classic by hitting the Nexus. And that is going to force Classic to take an unfavorable engagement. Very scared about losing that gold base. GUMIHO snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Is Classic going to go for another Stargate play? I feel like, if anything, I mean, there was some micro misplays, right? Classic putting too many units to defend his name, not enough to defend the gold. Taking huge damage from the initial medevac drop of GUMIHO. That was the real turning point for Terran. Just not having units in position to deal with it and bleeding out like 19 probes in a matter of seconds. But it wasn't the Oracle play that lost him that game. The Oracle play was really, 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 really good. So are we going to see a plethora of Oracles once again from Classic? It's hard. It's a tough call for anybody. You know, when a build loses, no matter the reason for losing, you only have a matter of 1, maybe 2 minutes between a set, or between a map usually, to reevaluate your strategy and figure out, hey, was it my build order that lost it for me? Or, like, did I just execute something poorly? And we actually need to stick with the plan. It looks like Classic is going to mix things up, so... Nope, he threw down the Stargate. I didn't think he was gonna, but he threw down the Stargate once again. It will be another Stargate opener. We don't know if it'll still be, you know, 3, 4, 5 Oracles, but almost certainly another Oracle opener. We could see Phoenix. I think that's an outlier, though. Does he get the kill? No. Man, the Reaper as a unit is such a cool design. No Terran bias here, by the way. I am a Zerg player through and through. But it's just, look at this thing. It's so metal. They could have been lazy about it, right? They could have just put a Space Marine and a jetpack. like Warhammer does. It's literally just the Space Marine model, and like if you have like the physical model, you pop the jetpack onto it. But no, StarCraft designers are like, no, it's gonna be thin and nimble, and they're gonna be like the most hardened of convicts that they strap into this armor. And it's like really unstable, and like you can see that it's like waving back and forth. You just have like the dual wield pistols instead of the bolter. So the initial adept play of Classic was good. He traded out for a couple Marines. That's acceptable. It's not stellar, but it's all right. It's aight. The Oracle play just flew into a Widowmine, and we're gonna see 1/1/1 lost through the Protoss, just a Reaper and 2 Marines for GUMIHO. GUMIHO coming out ahead on the initial trades, and it looks like he's finally going to get a standardized Widowmine drop-off, the first one we've seen so far in the series, and we're already at game number 3. And it will be Phoenix from Classic to follow up the first Oracle. Where there's one Phoenix, at least one more is sure to follow, so he will be able to get a lift on one of these mines, if he's so inclined. He's going to start DPSing down the medevac, but it's going to take, like, way too long. Oh! 4 probes. And a wounded Phoenix. This is really, really, really good start from GUMIHO. Medevac under heavy fire, and it will go down. Classic using an Adept and a Stalker to clean up the mines at home. GUMIHO flying in the Viking, and if he carries on from what he did last game, it's probably going to be a landed Viking. Or he's just going to sit here and make sure the Phoenix aren't headed his way. Both players can see each other, that little corner, and that means Classic is going to fly in a Phoenix to try and shut this down. In the meantime, GUMIHO hitting behind the gold base is going to kill off 2 probes. Tank sieged, a lot of pressure put on the gold base. Classic is kind of panicking here. He's rushing every unit he can to the front. The Phoenix cannot engage without the ground army. The ground army cannot engage without the lift on the tank. The Phoenix will provide. He's got to time this really perfectly. He needs to buy as much time as he can before moving in without losing the Nexus. Okay, lift on the tank. Second lift finally snipes it down, and a couple Phoenix are lost here, most of the ground army for Classic, but he's able to hold on to the gold. That's very precious. However, GUMIHO has a heck of an army back at home, and with 2 medevacs coming, yep, he's just going to load up and go on the attack against Classic. And this is a really interesting position for Classic to be in. GUMIHO is about to build a 3rd on location, but he's gotta be careful. He has to leave at least the Stalker behind to defend this 3rd Nexus, because if GUMIHO hits it with any amount of units, it'll just explode, right? He's got to shoot like a couple bullets at it, and the whole Nexus is gone. He pulls the whole army away. He pulls the whole army away to respect this drop. Oh no. I mean, he'll clean up this drop for sure, but this Nexus is almost certainly gone. Well, GUMIHO decides not to go in this way. He's going to go behind the mineral line instead, and we'll get 2 probe kills. But was it worth it? He can still hit the Nexus with like 1 Marine. Classic cleaned up the drop in the main for the most part, but the armory finished mid-engagement for GUMIHO, so these are permacloak mines. And with, I think, no oracles on the field? Yeah, no detection of any kind on the field for Classic. GUMIHO is going to have free reign for quite a while with his Widow Mines. 1 Oracle is out to cast Revelation on these mines, but there's still 1 behind your gold base. Is he going to pull away in time? Oh, God. It's like watching a horror movie. No! 2 of the Widow Mines survive in the main! Oh god, 12 probes killed off so far. Oh, 18, 19. That's GG pretty much from GUMIHO. The Permacloak Mines hitting mid-fight, destroying the Protoss. Classic down 30 army supply as GUMIHO sends another wave against this Nexus. It still hasn't healed up its shields, and there's no shield batteries here to overcharge and top it off real quick. Another 3 probes die, and this Nexus is gone. Classic down to 2 Nexus. Looked like he was going to attack with the Phoenix, but he's got another 2 medevacs incoming, and that's going to be GG. What a masterclass from GUMIHO. And it's going to be a Max Pax from Classic. Ooh. Alright, the gateway is down. Cybercore finishing at home. This Stalker is going to hit very fast. It's not a pure Max Pax, right? Usually you throw this down a tad earlier. It's your first gateway, and then you get a Zealot, and you follow it up with the Stalker play. But Classic going straight into the Stalkers is going to whack GUMIHO. This second command center will not finish on time. It's just not happening. GUMIHO sending out an SCV. Where is this off to? Is he just trying to find the proxy? No, he's just scouting Classic. That's all that's happening. Interesting. He's assuming a defensive posture on the high ground. Now, he is going to leave this building for a while. Just let it soak Stalker shots. Make Classic feel like he's doing something, and GUMIHO can always cancel whenever he feels it's really under threat. Only 1 Marine in this bunker means Classic can fight it once the second Stalker gets here. Ah, well, 2 Marines out now. Yeah, he's going to hit the supply depot on the right, using the Adept Shade for high ground vision. Classic is going to proxy a Robo as well. Okay, so with 3 Stalkers here, GUMIHO should start to get a read on how all in this is. He sees another pylon going down to the main. He sees the natural, but he's not seeing any tech building for the Protoss, so he knows there's a tech building out on the map somewhere. I think the Cyclone a really strong choice here. He's covering all his bases, getting the siege tank as well, and he's going to be very brave loading 5 Marines into the medevac. It gets scouted. The Stalker's not going to shoot the medevac though. Two Marines and a Cyclone were holding this for a solid 30 seconds, and with the siege tank out, GUMIHO is now secure again. This gateway force can't really attack GUMIHO anymore with the tank out, and 5 Marines are ready to stutter step into the mineral line. Classic. I don't know what he was thinking. He saw this medevac come in. Maybe he didn't notice it on the minimap. Cyclone is going to kill off a Stalker. Is there enough energy for recall? There is not. There's... unless these just got recalled. They might have. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, he recalled from the Robo, not from the attacking force. But 6 probes are lost for Classic. Roughly a quarter of his economy. But a Prism is out, and it's going to drop Stalkers behind the main mineral line of GUMIHO. Try to even up the damage. He should lose these 2 Stalkers on the low ground. No, he's too good. Picks them up with the Warp Prism. Repositions to the main. A Banshee is out. Is Cloak here yet? Eight SCVs dead. And the Banshee is narrowly going to survive. That comes out into Classic's favor, I think, if the Banshee dies. But right now, it's pretty even. GUMIHO is going to be okay. Yes, he has a lower worker count, but remember, Terran has mules. What is Classic's next move going to be? Well, it looks like he's still going to produce Immortals. He's got to be careful, because you don't want this proxy to be found and overrun by GUMIHO, right? And you just lose a very expensive Immortal to a bunch of Marines. But on the other hand, you want to keep the pressure up on GUMIHO, and you can't really afford have something as expensive as a robotics facility just stop producing units mid-game. So a delicate tightrope that Classic has to walk. Raven is going for an auto turret play on this mineral line. At least I hope it is. It would be really weird if it just armor shreds the probe line and flies away, you know. GUMIHO just loses his mind. He's like, look, it has less armor, guys. I can't attack it, but these probes, they're demoralized. They're orange. I dumped Cheeto dust on them. No, it's 100% going to be an auto turret play. Any moment now. He's focusing on this engagement. Oh my god, Classic gets just around on the Marines. Kills off nearly all of them. There is still a siege tank in the main, and the other 2 siege tanks were flying in the medevac, so they're going to be saved, and that should hold the high ground for GUMIHO, but his expansion is forced to lift off. It's still not an orbital. 2 probes lost by Classic, but that's it. The auto turret is killed, and it's going to be a while before this Raven can make another play. And Classic is finally going to shoot well ahead in economy. Double Immortal Drop behind the mineral line. Medevac's doing what they can to make sure GUMIHO doesn't actually lose too many probes. The Prism gets away without any hull damage. And Classic is doing a great job this game. It was touch and go for a moment when GUMIHO got the 5 Marine drop-off. And, you know, the attack on, the pressure on GUMIHO's main was let up. GUMIHO was allowed to expand. It looked like GUMIHO was going to break the siege, but Classic able to continue attacking the Terran, keeping the pressure on. The Immortals, no, they're move commanded. The Immortals were move commanded. Oh god, one of them is dead. The second one is not looking so hot. Will probably be trading out for medevac energy here. The Prism goes down. The move command from Classic all of a sudden putting GUMIHO potentially back in this game. It all depends on this drop. The probes are pulled into the meat grinder. Classic throwing the game with a move command. No. Oh my god. I think they might have been on the hotkey with the defending stalker, something like that. I'm not sure. But Classic, I'm singing his praises. He's doing so well all game, and it's basically over. Oh my god. GUMIHO has figured out where the proxy is and is going to divert resources there immediately. Barrier popped on this lone Immortal. Do we have recall for Classic? We do. There is energy on the natural, so he can get these guys out of dodge, but 13 army supply to 30. The Terran, okay, nice pick on the medevac, but there's just not enough here to hold the proxy for Classic. And I mean, that is his tech. There's no other tech for Classic. GUMIHO pulling off another victory. Classic is embattled. He started off strong, but GUMIHO has a lot of momentum in his favor. A kind of botched build order lost game number 1, but he has come back in a big way. Classic has got to be kicking himself right now. That's a demoralizing way to lose. Move commanding 2 Immortals with fresh barriers into 6 Marines. Classic is a very skilled Protoss player, and I think is going to be completely and utterly focused now that he's down to match point. That was extremely uncharacteristic for a Protoss. Let's see if he can get things together. Reactor on the racks into expand from GUMIHO, it looks like. There's 400 minerals. There's the command center. Looks like Classic is not going to proxy this time. Does he go back to Stargate? You know, I mentioned this earlier, but the Stargate plays were actually very, very, very good from Classic. It was just some unit positioning that lost him games number 2 and 3. Just some micro calls, the positioning of his army, not being able to defend GUMIHO's counterattacks. He's put GUMIHO up against the ropes repeatedly with these Stargate plays. So if he can get the next phase, right? So you go into the Stargate play, you really hurt your opponent, and then you go into the next phase. Can Classic get to the next phase? Can he capitalize on the mayhem he causes with his oracles, on the damage he causes with his Phoenix, and actually close out the game against GUMIHO? It's a do or die at this point. As a very forward shield battery. Oh my god. And perhaps not without merit. He does scout GUMIHO, trying to push with 4 Marines, and GUMIHO's like, no, I've been scouted. This is over before it begins. So he still has to attack with this, though, I think. 2 Hellions following up. This is very aggressive Marine play. 1-1-1 is down on the field. Twilight Council follow-up from Classic. GUMIHO has to get in on the shield battery very quickly. An Oracle flying overhead is going to help burn down these Marines super fast. And that's a really fresh cleanup from Classic. That was a really solid defense. He scouted, he responded perfectly, loses nothing. Actually nothing. I thought he lost a probe, but I hallucinated the probe dying. 6 Marines die for GUMIHO, and it looks like he's going into a cloaked mine drop. Hellions are hitting the mineral line, but again, only 1 probe dying here. This is a lot of damage to these Hellions, and oh my god, they die! Classic with the comeback, but again, can he capitalize? He's going straight into Phoenix this game. After his initial Oracle. Scouting pylon dropped. Phoenix patrolling in the other position, and it will be able to take some pot shots at this medevac on its current flight path. These permacloak mines caused a lot of damage the last time they appeared in this series. Is Classic going to be able to adjust? Here we go. That's a lot of Stalkers, and the medevac might go before dropping off its whole payload, but the Stalkers attack the mines instead. Okay. That's 2 mines dead, and there we go. The whole attack cleaned up with nary a loss for a Protoss. 1 Oracle, 1 Stalker, 2 probes dying so far. But wait, there's a second medevac from GUMIHO. He's not done yet. Will injure a Phoenix. Will get 1 more probe kill. Still 1 more mine. And the medevac, is this the one that is the mega damage dealer? Yeah, kind of. It killed off 4 probes, so that's the most successful Widow mine so far. It's the goated mine, but it's dead now. And Classic still very, 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 very solid. And wait, where'd the mine go off? I heard the mine. I didn't see the mine. Okay. Just 1 more probe kill. Classic with multiple hit squads of Stalkers roving around. I think not by mistake. He wants to catch any incoming medevacs with even more permacloak mines, right? He wants to see if the Terran's moving out. So marching divided, fighting united, taking the advice of the legendary Sun Tzu. A lot of Marines killed off. The Mines burrow. One mine dead. Second mine killed off, and the bio needs to run back to the tank. Okay, the tank is enough to scare away Classic, but much like a Tusken Raider, he will likely be back, and in greater numbers. GUMIHO still slightly ahead in economy when you factor in mules. Up 20 army supply. But that's not the whole picture here. Take a look at the tech for the Protoss. He's got +1 finishing. He's got charge finishing, Forged, Templar Archives, static defense, cannon going up a 4th base. So Classic's army might be a paper tiger, but it's everything behind that army that's creating value for the Protoss, and why I think Classic is still ahead here. Yes, we have 1-1 finishing soon, TM, for GUMIHO. Yes, we have combat shields on the way. Yes, we have a 4th CC being built, but not on location. And yes, GUMIHO is attacking. However, as long as Classic doesn't face like an all-out assault by GUMIHO, which he shouldn't, because, you know, there's this 4th CC on the way, it should just be a pressure. He's gonna have some really good tech on the field. We're seeing Archons, we're seeing more charge lots, we're seeing a Robo Bay finish, we're seeing a robotics facility, +2/+2, halfway done, just as the Terran's starting his upgrades. And this is really, really, really painting a clear picture of Classic being very technologically advanced. It's lore appropriate, right? The Protoss being more technologically advanced than the Terran, and the Terrans are just trying to shut him down before they can get there. And notice that by the time GUMIHO's army finally meanders to the north, there's quite a substantial force to meet it. We do have a Colossi starting production. A Disruptor is going to be out, potentially mid-fight here. A tank going down very early for GUMIHO, a medevac sniped out of the air, and this army has to go home. There's nothing more it can do on its own. It needs to meet up with reinforcements or load up into the medevacs and strike elsewhere, but you don't really want to load most of this into the medevacs and leave 4 or 5 units behind to die for free. Nice kiting on the Zealots, so the squishy stalkers are going to be exposed, and GUMIHO is going to make a very good trade considering what he actually had here to fight. Reinforcements come up and will save the units. Are they going to get the snipe on the Archon? Yeah, that's really nice that they get the Disruptor here too. GUMIHO able to turn a bad engagement into a big W. +2 finishing for Classic. Double Colossi popping out. More Stalkers warping in. And +3 armor on the way now for the Protoss. 2 weapons and armor in development still for GUMIHO. That's just how much of an upgrade lead Classic has. Extended Thermal Lance finishing up for Classic as well. Widowmine isolated from the rest of the army. That's another anchor gone for GUMIHO. The bio split in half. This is not a flank. This is actually Classic diving into the middle of the Terran and dividing his forces. GUMIHO finally able to retreat. He does have a ghost back here for EMP, but just not enough firepower to fight this. Classic barreling forward with triple Colossi, resonating glaives behind this now, because why not? Those 3/3 upgrades still marching inexorably forward, and he's going to back away here, because why not? Why wouldn't you back away as Classic? You don't have to take a fight against a planetary. You don't have to end the game now. Just use your better tech to keep getting farther and farther ahead, and that's exactly what we see Classic doing. 5th Nexus down. GUMIHO trying to go for an attack on this 4th base, and this might actually work. There's no shield batteries here. Just a couple of adepts going for a harass play. Are they going to slide past this army? It looks like it. Oh, they could have potentially sniped the ghost down. But, yeah, GUMIHO's going to be able to kill this whole heckin' Nexus. All the probes get out, but wait, there's a second wave of GUMIHO attack. Classic going for the counterattack will be able to snipe down an orbital. 3 racks under heavy fire as well. That's a very nice find for Classic. How many racks did we have on the field? It's like 7. We're down to 7, and 2 of them are on fire. It looks like we have a full-on base race, folks. Probes have been found, but these guys are actually doing great work. The Marauders not known for their probe-killing prowess. These guys sitting outside the natural, they need to be attacking buildings. And look how far this flank of GUMIHO's army got drawn out from the Protoss buildings. That's the win condition, folks. Kill all your opponent's buildings. A lot of high temps here. Trying to build up some Storm, I think. Do we have Storm for the Protoss? We do not, so they got to become Archons pretty quickly. Classic has 900 minerals, 300 gas, but isn't really building anything. And GUMIHO lost the defensive army. His production is being camped. He's got to fly these buildings away and hope some of them live. A couple Marauders will trade out for Stalkers in the back. GUMIHO going after Classic's last Nexus. Classic able to save most of these probes. Okay, they were saving themselves for feedback. That's really smart, actually. Now they're going to become Archons, but they will die before they finish morphing. At least I think they will. Yep. Classic needs to drop a Nexus, and he will. GUMIHO still with 3 orbitals. Actually, excuse me, he's got 2 planetaries and an orbital. Scratch that. He's got 2 planetaries. Every time I look, there's buildings dying. And will +3 armor be allowed to finish? Yes, Classic, despite being able to see that this engineering bay has its pistons firing, is going to go after the supply depots instead, trying to make sure GUMIHO can't rebuild elsewhere. He's only got a couple Stalkers here, so going to be really hard to fight down the production. We'll keep an eye on that factory in the bottom right corner. GUMIHO still with 2 mining bases. Classic currently with 0. And I think all of his tech is... No, he's still got 4 warp gates powered, so once he starts mining, he can produce things. GUMIHO's production temporarily shut down, but will be operational again here soon. The factory did burn down. Is this rack's going to burn down too? Oh god, it's down to 25 HP. There's no SCV pulled. If it gets down to 15, it's dead. Okay, there was an SCV pulled. It was hidden. It's hidden SCV. Just in the nick of time. Classic making a really smart move here, but I don't know if he realizes how smart it is. He has DTs. These guys are not in range of the missile turret's vision. These DTs can shut down 2 of these racks, force them to reposition and abandon their add-ons if Classic figures it out, but he's got to rush to save this Nexus. The probes used to absorb some of the firepower of the Marines. GUMIHO lifts up. Oh god. Okay, the missile turret snipe. I love this. He snipes the missile turret instead of the planetary, so now the DT can finish off the planetary. Really smart move from Classic. GUMIHO's going to finish off the likely target down the Dark Shrine and then take care of the pylons. No, he's just letting them shoot where they may. Fresh missile turret is finishing. Is it going to be enough to save the planetary? Oh god, with the repair, yes it is. In come the Colossi, and they will finish off the planetary. So GUMIHO back down to 1 base. It's 1 base versus 1 base. Both army supplies pretty even. I think Classic has quality over GUMIHO, though. We do have a reactor on the Starfort for double Viking production, but GUMIHO needs to get himself on supply block first. Remember when Classic focused down like 6 supply depots behind the Nat? All these barracks have units queued. We got a Marauder, we got a Marauder, we got a Marauder, but they just can't build, and they're all going to have to be canceled. The barracks fly, the add-ons under heavy fire, and perhaps more importantly, just as GUMIHO is about to overcome the supply lock, he's losing even more supply depots. Classic did lose all his production at home, but he's got a fresh gateway, fresh pylons down. Now, what he's not going to have is a cyber core, so it's just going to be zealots coming from those. But 3 zealots with charge are very powerful units indeed when your opponent has, like, nothing. But wait! Oh my god, GUMIHO snipes the Nexus, and that's gonna be GG! What? Oh no! GUMIHO snatching victory from the jaws of defeat yet again.